do want to extend a welcome. If you'll indulge me, I have written a little something to make sure that we don't leave anyone out. We are honored to be a part of a program today that recognizes the historic Taylorsville High School, the first public high school in Bartow County. I know you take great pride in knowing that it was built with local funds by forward-thinking citizens. And the graduates of Taylorsville High School have made major contributions to the many opportunities that we now have in Bartow County that must give many of you a great deal of pride and strength. Today we extend a very special welcome to the descendants of the founders and the patrons, the living graduates, and the former teachers and staff. On behalf of the Etowah Valley Historic Society, we also say, and he won't like this, but many, many, many thanks to Lamar Harris. We saw him so many after, now I'm going away from my text. We saw him so many afternoons in the office in the courthouse doing research. He made contributions to encourage us in our research of Bartow County. Lamar just became like a blessing. He just appeared, and Lamar, you will never know how appreciative the Historic Society is. And now he's going to make everyone appreciative. He went to Taylorsville High School. By today's program, many, many memories, and then the marker that we will put in. It's going to be a nice day, and thank you, Lamar. Now I'd like to introduce Reverend Tommy Harris. He's pastor of this Taylorsville Baptist Church, a graduate, 1963. Reverend Harris is retired from the Bartow County school system, and he will welcome us this morning. Then he will introduce Reverend Doug Harris, who will do our invocation. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Diane. You know, I have some things I can say about Lamar too, but y'all would be interested in what I've got to say. I also imagine in 1963 when I walked across the stage with, what were they, 19 others to receive my diploma. I doubt very seriously that anybody thought at that time that I'd be standing here today, welcoming you here to this church that I pastor. But it is a privilege. This church was built, this particular building was built 102 years ago, I believe, in 1911, something around that nature. We just had our 100th year anniversary in this building. The church was established in 1838, and we are really blessed. And if you don't have a church home, I'll put in a plug. We'd love to have you come visit us on Sundays and just see what the Lord is doing here. You look around and you see these beautiful stained glass windows and the architecture, the work that has gone into this building, and the church has worked so hard over the years, dedicating people to try to keep the facility up, and it always does look good, and not very many people get the privilege of standing here and looking out across to just see the glory of the Lord in this place, and so I'm privileged to get to do that. You see on the windows there are a lot of names of families, and some of you will recognize the names. Many of them probably you can think back when you were growing up and how they contributed to this area and to this society. And it is my privilege this morning to get to introduce to you a man that is from this area. 1957 graduate, I believe, from Taylorsville High School. 56 graduate. And they didn't give me his diploma until 57. One of the best athletes that has ever come out of Taylorsville High School. And I know he played college baseball and wound up coaching. He was a principal at many of the schools in Cartersville and in Bartow County, and then served as a superintendent of the Bartow Education Department in, I don't know, 1980 something to something, somewhere in that neighborhood. But he is the one who actually got me into education, and I took my first job with him. And I've got three, matter of fact, I don't see Dr. Panther here, but I will say this real quickly. Doug got me started in education, and then Davis got me out of it. I worked for him at the very end. And I appreciate you being here this morning, but Brother Doug says, come on, Doug, you make your way up. I want to call attention to his family's, his great-grandfather's picture window. That one, I believe, is W.P. Harris, junior, senior on that wall over there. But Doug is a great friend, and I know many of you have loved him and loved his family. So welcome to Taylorsville, Doug.
Actually, I see Granddaddy's name over here on the right-hand side. And this is a very special place. I believe Tommy said 1938. Happened to be the year I was born. And started attending this church next week. Great memories in this place, and I shall never forget the place nor the people. Would you pray with me? Father, at the very outset, we want to just pause and acknowledge that you are God, and besides you there is none other. We recognize that you are our Creator. We recognize that, Father, that you place people in the world where you want them. And Father, those of us who have been a part of this place, of this community, the school, and other things in our community, we've been blessed as a result of that. And we'd be remiss today, Father, that we didn't give you thanksgiving and acknowledge it's because of your grace and your mercy that we've experienced all that we have in this community. We want to thank you for every teacher, for every administrator, for every school employee, every lunchroom worker, Father, everyone that touched our lives at Taylorsville School. Lord, we recognized as we were going through that we had teachers that were not only concerned about our academics, but Lord, they were concerned about us as individuals. And they did everything in their power to serve as our encouragers and not only prepare us for the world and for the future, but prepare us on how to deal with people and how to meet people and how to love people. And God, we thank you for every one of them. And probably there are many of us here today that give many, many testimonies to the fact that had not it been for the encouragement that we received from the teachers at Taylorsville School, God, that we would never have gone to further education or into different professions that we've gone into. And we just know, God, that's a result of your grace and mercy. And we thank you for each one of them, each one of them. And Lord, we thank you for our parents. And Lord, we thank you that in this community, we not only had our biological parents, but God, we had adults that cared about everyone here, and adults that were willing to provide guidance and love and care and acceptance for each one of us and help to build our self-esteem because they treated us as if we were very important to them, and they loved us as if we were their own. And Father, I thank you for the church. Thank you for the fact, Father, that I learned about you here and gave my life to you in this place. And Lord, I thank you for the multitude of friendships that we've made over the years, the ones we made in school, and especially, God, for those long-lasting friendships that we've had over the years, one with another. And again, Father, we thank you as we approach this special season. Most of all, we thank you for the Lord Jesus, for his willingness to come, to give himself as the ultimate perfect sacrifice, that though sinners we be, we can have forgiveness, eternal life, and enjoy an abundant life here. And for all of that, we give you the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend East. Doug and I worked together for a number of years at North Metro Tech, and what a difference he makes when he just steps on the campus, and the whole day long I watched Doug make a difference in individual lives, and I appreciate that time, Doug, and thank you for your invitation. I'd like to ask the mayor if he would please come forward and give us a welcome. Mayor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The ones that don't know, my name is Mitchell Bagley. I am the present mayor for the town of Taylorsville. And I will say that I'm not from Taylorsville. Unfortunately, I would love to be able to say I was because I love Taylorsville. Andrew Floyd, after we've been elected, he made a statement that I'd done the impossible. I said, what's that mean? He said, you got elected mayor of Taylorsville and you're not from there. Well, you're probably right, because I'm still trying to warm up some of the gentlemen that don't know me. I'm an outsider, so, but I found a home. I married a girl from Taylorsville 23 years ago, and Lord, I'm sure I've got a home for life, because I'm not going nowhere. But Mr. Harris asked me when I give just a brief history for the town of Taylorsville, and I've done some researching, and there's a couple of the names that popped up, and I'll mention them later, that go along with Mr. Harris's historical marker. So, the town was established around the year 1856, and laid out on property that belonged to Mr. Thomas Osborne and Mr. Israel P. Davis of Polk County. In turn, they hired a surveyor to lay out the town limits, which were stretched for 1,200 yards in all directions. After the gentleman by the name of Edward Gamage Taylor done the survey and laid the town out, they decided to name the town after him. So that's how we come by the town of Taylorsville, by Mr. Taylor. Taylorsville was not officially incorporated prior to that until August 19th of 1916, which it went before the Georgia House of General Assembly. And it was recorded and made the town of Taylorsville incorporated, in which the names of y'all out will be the ones that y'all recognize. It goes along with Mr. Harris's marker. Mr. J.W. Kennedy was appointed mayor, and Mr. W.M. Dorsey and W.D. Tripp were appointed the aldermen for the town. So they were the first ones to ever hold office in the town. Prior to that, it was just an open town, no one to control it. At the present time, along with me being mayor, I have two council ladies, Miss Vicki Lanier, if you don't mind standing up, Vicki. She has been a council lady now for 19 years. Next year will be 20, and we'll be up for re-election again. I hope she stays with us and we can continue carry out business. The second one is Miss Rose Scott. She has been a council lady for 11 years here in Taylorsville, and I'm real proud to say that they work well with us, and we try to carry out the town business and keep it going. Originally, the town of Taylorsville's part of the marker was that the former mayor Kerry Rose and Mr. Harris were working together, and the town was backing Mr. Harris in trying to get the marker established. And any support he needed out of town, I think was standing behind him. After that, I was elected November the 5th, 2012 as mayor, and Mr. Harris wasn't sure if the town was still going to back him with the new administration. So he wrote me a letter and asked if we were still going to continue to back him in his adventure to try to get a historical marker in place. And of course, I spoke with the council in this matter, and we all agreed unanimously to carry out behind Mr. Harris and make sure it didn't happen in any way that we could happen. But that was our part of the marker. But after the marker came in, Mr. Harris contacted me, and him went on site and decided the exact location on the site where we needed to put the marker. And I personally want to thank Mr. Harris for what he's done, because his other legacy that will be here from now on. During my campaign, my slogan was protecting Taylorsville's past, present, and future. And I think what Mr. Harris has done goes right along with that. And Mr. Harris, thank you again on behalf of the city of Taylorsville.
I also worked with this mayor, and we certainly appreciate your approach to protecting Taylorsville, because it certainly is a treasure in this county. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Joanne Smith with the Etowah Valley Historical Society, and we're thrilled to be here today and be a part of this celebration. I'd like to introduce Dr. Davis Nelson. Dr. Nelson served as principal of Taylorsville High School and was superintendent of Bartow County Schools when the new Taylorsville Elementary School opened in the fall of 1995. He served as headmaster of Excel Christian Academy and is the present chairman of the Bartow County Board of Education. We'd like to welcome him to the podium.
Thank you. It's a joy to be asked to be here and see all these folks that I've known all my life. Mitchell, I'm not from Taylorsville either. I'm from the big city of Stylesburg. Taylorsville's tried to annex us for many years, but we have fallen off. so many people in Taylorsville have been such an impact in my life. I will say that, to defend myself, that I was just a baby when Tommy and Doug were graduating. And I thought I was going to be the youngest up here, Mitchell, until you stepped up. Rayford falls right in that category. He's one of the older folks too. But this is a great time and a great opportunity for Taylorsville and graduates of Taylorsville School to be happy and be proud of your heritage. I want to thank the Etowah Valley Historical Society for helping make this event possible. It is just a wonderful time to be celebrating. We've seen a lot of history take place in Bartow County. It is so very important that we do our part to preserve this history for our future generations, for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, so that they know what this county was about, how it struggled to work and survive, and how important the people were that helped establish the Taylorsville School, but also the other schools that were located in all the little small communities around this county. If you look at the progress and success of Bartow County through the years, you're going to trace a major portion of that back to Taylorsville. As you will hear, Taylorsville was the first high school in all of Bartow County, including Cartersville. And a group of people knew how important it was to have an educated population. That the more educated our population was, the more prosperous our county would be, and the more we could provide for our children and ourselves. I've spent my whole life, my whole adult life, involved in education at all levels. And I was honored when Doug Harris placed me as principal of Taylorsville. It was Taylorsville Elementary. And I remember when they closed the high school, I was still a baby. So it was Taylorsville Elementary at that time. And Doug provided, and the Board of Education provided a large amount of money at that time to try to renovate Taylorsville, to try to keep it together and have it as a place for boys and girls to go to school. And some of you remember, I remember the hallways. It was kind of like roller coasters. There were wood floors, and you could have a good time going down that hall. And I talked to Doug, I said, Doug, they're wood floors, and every time you take a step, you hear it. All the boards creaked. I said, is there anything that we might could do sort of quieten the halls down? And so we put carpet on it, and the teachers were so thrilled because they could still hear me coming when I was getting close to the classroom. So the carpet muffled a little bit, but not everything. Then later, when I was blessed to be superintendent of Bartow County, and I followed the likes of Doug Harris and Rayford Cantrell, who were both raised and born in this county and in this community, and spent their life trying to build up the Bartow County school system. I was fortunate to walk in those footsteps. But we were able to pass a bond referendum, the taxpayers were, and then right after that, a 1% sales tax. The first time we'd had a 1% sales tax to build schools. And one of our first projects was the new Taylorsville School. The old school was just becoming so costly to maintain and keep in the kind of a physical shape that we needed to have boys and girls there. So we went down the road, almost to Stylesburg, and built the new Taylorsville Elementary School. And again, because of the upkeep, the Board of Education felt it was important to sell the old Taylorsville School, and so we did. We did keep a portion of the property that we still own down here today, the ball field. And so the school system still has roots right here in the Taylorsville community. The spirit that was in the old Taylorsville School is still here today. That loving, that enthusiastic, great community spirit didn't leave because the school was torn down. It resides at the elementary school just up the road. It resides in the church here. It resides in any of the community events that go here. That spirit and that kindness and that togetherness, that family still resides here. And that's what the founders were trying to do when they built this school. It was about family and providing for future generations the opportunity to be successful. As chairman of the Bartow County Board of Education, on behalf of Dr. Harper, John Harper, who is out of state right now, we want to recognize, Mr. Harris, what you've done here, and let you know how much we appreciate the efforts that you put in to getting the marker and writing the history of the school. It is so important that the people today realize how hard those founders worked to provide for the future of Bartow County. Not just Taylorsville, but they were providing for the future of all of Bartow County. You've inspired us, and I pray that this will only be the beginning of other communities in Bartow County following your footsteps, recognizing the history of the state, what happened to this county as a result of that history, and trying to create the same energy and enthusiasm that you have helped create here at Taylorsville today. So again, we thank you so much, and we acknowledge what you've done up to this point to make this happen. You've provided the way, and I know as I look across this room, there's still a lot of energetic hearts. Even though we're a little older, there's still a lot of energetic hearts here that can carry on the torch and keep Taylorsville moving forward. I also want to thank the Etowah Valley Historical Society for another effort that they've been involved in, and that's the Bartow History Scholars. If you're not aware of that program, you need to find out about it and see what's there that not only students are benefiting from, but you as adults can go into that interactive website, and it's an enrichment opportunity for the students of Bartow County to learn about Bartow County history. It's our only text. And had that not been provided, a lot of our students would grow up in this county not knowing the rich history of Bartow County. So I deeply appreciate the time and effort that you and others, along with Joe Head, that helped make that possible. It's a great program, and I encourage you to have an opportunity to look into that. Doug and Rayford and Tommy and others, again, I want to thank you for your contributions to this community and how you continue today to contribute to the success of Bartow County. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks for those kind words.
Betty Jane Tillman, I'd like to hear from you. Thank you. Thank you. I was walking in a few minutes ago when this person said, well, you didn't graduate from Taylorsville. I said, no, I'm from Cartersville, but I married one. And I did tell Dr. Nelson in that I've heard for 50 years or more all of these fantastic stories about you, Harley, some good, some not so good. But I'm here I'm representing the U. Harley Historical Society, and I'll get to the ending of that in just a moment. But I want you to know how we first met Lamar Harris. And you know, today proves that months of research, dedication, determination, friendships renewed and made new, just by going to the Gold Dome and researching. You know, this is the true qualities of life that are presented here through Lamar Harris. We now see a job well done And as we come to this time of dedication, we want to commend Lamar for what he has done for all of Bartow County on remembering history. In 2010, the Uvalde Historical Society decided to try to duplicate the history of Uvalde, and we have a committee. Amongst them, though, was Clayton Harris, a member of the Uvalde Historical Society. And when we started talking about, we couldn't get the big red book, as everybody calls it, Uvalde history, redone without it being very cost prohibitive. Clayton said, would we think about including Taylorsville and Stylesboro in a new history? And the more the committee talked about it, we thought, well, yes. I mean, it's a little triangle of people that have gone to school and dated and married and all the little one-room schoolhouses like Big Pond. So this committee decided we would do that. And in amongst conversation, Clayton said, well, you've got to talk to Lamar Harris because he is working on the history of Taylorsville schools. So we communicated, and thus we came up with this book based on the design of the Bartow genealogy. So this is the heritage of Uvalde, Stylesboro, and Taylorsville that was compiled in 2010 by the EHS. And we decided to do 200 pages. We thought we will never fill 200 pages. We were going to do the histories of the school, the churches, the community of the three communities. And as it went along, what we asked folks had, please get your genealogies to us. We had 350 genealogies. We had a cutoff date. So we had to kind of skimp a little bit and cut back on our histories. But in this book is the beginning of Lamar and the Taylorsville School. You know, it's just amazing to me. I've read this book 3 times before it was printed. And I am just amazed at the quality of families that have come out of this area and have continued to serve in so many capacities of Cartersville and Bartow County. Well, then we said to Lamar, as he was getting his first book ready, Uvalde Historical Society would like to help have you a location to sell your book, and with the EBHS, let's have a book signing at the Uvalde Library. We did. It was just so well received and successful. And truthfully, before we could get that going, he had sold his 100 books that he had decided on and added some things and started on his other 100 books. I think there might be 1 or 2 copies left. You're going to have to do number 3, Lamar, I'm telling you. But, you know, we're just so honored, too, that he asked us to write a letter of recommendation to help him with the marker. And we did. Our EHS wrote that letter. We hope it had something to do with the finality of that. And we just commend you, Lamar, with your marker achievement. I just think it's extraordinary. I'd like just to introduce Sue Cox as our president. Sue. And Katie Odom is our historical, what are you? She's our museum director. I'm sorry, the name just went out. Go ahead, Sue.
Like I said, my name is Sue Cox. I'm the president of the Uvalde Historical. I'm also a member of the Etowah Valley. I'm also a member of my hometown historical society in Quincy, Illinois. I always thought I was from Illinois. I found out I was from the north when I moved down here. But my husband is a Cartersville boy, Ronald Cox, so I feel like I'm part of it. I've been in Uvalde for 30 years. I've only been involved since I've retired with the Uvalde Historical, and there's so much history, so much Taylorsville, so much everything around here. I just love it. I'm not going back. I love it down south. So anyway, I'm very honored. I knew that Betty Jane knew more about the book. We do have the book, of course, at the museum. I will encourage you all, please come and visit us at the museum. It's free. We have new T-shirts as of today. As of
absolutely lucky to have all this enthusiasm about history of the entire county, and thank you, ladies. I mean, you just do a fantastic job, along with the Kingston Women's History Club and so many other organizations. Katie, certainly the museum is a credit to Bartow County.
We'll ask Lamar Harris to come up now. Needs no introduction. 1949 graduate, I believe. Tell us the high school.
Let's go ahead and get Lamar Harris.
Tommy, I hope that you are recording this and you won't have to do the funeral. It's a real pleasure to have you and have you sponsor this dedication program. An exciting journey began about 4.5 years ago that is going to end today with the dedication of this marker. I met a lot of wonderful people and I've had tremendous support in carrying out this project. In July of 2012, we put together an application for a Georgia historical marker. We wanted to have an outside review committee verify the facts that we had uncovered in doing our research. We submitted the application after Dr. Harper of the Bartow County School System becoming a sponsor and the town of Taylorsville being the other sponsor. We had to do a lot of groundwork. I visited with Commissioner Clarence Brown because I thought he might be a sponsor, but he turned out he said it was too costly to replace all the markers that had been stolen. But he said if you can't find a sponsor, come back. Steve Stewart was very helpful. He was in Commissioner Brown's office at that time. We spent many hours trying to find all of the deeds to the property, and Steve was very instrumental in helping us uncover all but the first one. And I don't know what happened to the book, but we did not find the first deed. As we prepared the marker, this gentleman down here and I put it together, Rayford Cantrell, and I learned a great deal from him in the process of putting that together. As already been mentioned, the Etowah Valley Historical Society and the U. Harley Historical Society endorsed the project, wrote letters of support to the Georgia Historical Society. In early 2013, we were informed, primarily due to limited state funding and the fact that the state had already approved a number of markers for schools, that our project would not be funded. Instead of doing additional research, we concluded that they had verified the facts that was in the historical document that was required. And having been in research for many years, I can assure you that our references had to be cited so that they could look at the information that was in the historical document. We turned then to the Etowah Valley Historical Society with our application, and fortunately, they approved it. Upon approval, Minor Harper, Rayford Cantrell, and I, worked on the text. We struggled with the information that's on the marker. If you have a copy of the text that's in your bulletin, we realized that other names could have been mentioned. And as you look around, you could see a number of them here in the church. 6 of these people were heavily involved in the creation and the early years of operation of the school. 4 of them probably were among the 5 original trustees. The 7th was E.O. Davis, and to us, he represented the 2nd generation of the people who worked for the school. He was instrumental, along with the officers of the town of Taylorsville, in getting a replacement school. The original 3-room frame building burned in 1926, and as a result of their efforts, a 5-room brick building was constructed. E.O. continued during the period of time that the high school wing was constructed. So that gives you a little bit of feel for how we went about selecting those names. Initially, we thought about outstanding graduates. We soon learned that that was an impossibility to put the names of all the outstanding graduates on that. So what we did was basically identified the professional areas, and thanks to your late wife, we followed her advice and did not try to name, because we would have run out of space. The outstanding accomplishment of over 660 graduates just blows my mind. I mean, I thought I knew a little bit about the school, but I surely learned a heck of a lot more when I went through and determined what they were capable of doing. The marker is made of cast aluminum. The size is 30 inches high and 42 inches wide. The gold leaf text letters are 5/8 inch. The text was limited to 20 lines of 65 letters, and that includes space, periods, and what have you. And the EVHS logo is at the top of the marker. The marker is placed on a 10-foot aluminum pole embedded in concrete 3 feet deep and 18 inches in diameter, and has a 2-inch by 2 foot by 2 foot by 4-inch concrete base. It'll take quite a vehicle to unearth that, not like the one there by the church. At this time, I have the pleasure of doing something that I'm really excited about. On a cold Saturday morning, earlier this year, similar to the conditions that we faced this morning, I had the pleasure of watching Ricky Woods and David Grogan install the 10-foot aluminum pole after it had been delivered and stored at Wood Fabrication. During the process, it looked like Ricky had all of his equipment at the site. We even at one point had an inspection from his mother, Vivian. Later, his father, Harvey, came, and we assumed he was going to help. But he said, no way, I've got a honeydew project and I need some cypress. Ricky, would you come up here, please? It is with great pleasure that I present you this certificate of appreciation for the installation of this marker. It shows the 3 photographs, and he did this at no cost to the project. I think I met this next gentleman for the first time that morning. You would not believe how precise he located the base form relative to Harley Street and placed the pole so that the marker text would be perpendicular to Harley Street. David Grogan was very successful in carrying out a one-of-a-kind project. As many of you know, things happen whenever you have a one-of-a-kind project. He didn't get upset. At one point, the generator would not start. He calmly picked up his cell phone and called Mr. Fix-It, Larry Harris, and he got the generator going. David, would you please come up? This gentleman needs your prayers because he's going to undergo surgery on Monday. David, I am real pleased that this to you, and above all, great watching.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Lord. Gentlemen, it always takes someone that has all the power tools and to help get these projects finished, and we also say thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce, next time, I started reading your marker, Lamar, and lost my place. It's really interesting. Clayton Harris. Clayton Harris is a 1948 graduate of Taylorsville High School. Served as Executive Vice President, Bank of Taylorsville, historian of Taylorsville and the surrounding area. Mr. Harris.
I'm not really speaking to a crowd, a big crowd like this, and some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about may have been already mentioned, but I personally want to thank the Etowah Valley Historical Society for hosting this occasion, and the Harley Historical Society for its support. Would all the members of the Etowah Valley Historical Society please stand? Thank Lamar Harris for all his work in securing this historical marker and publishing the book entitled Taylorsville High School, 1900 to 1966. I'd also like to thank the Taylorsville Baptist Church for allowing us to meet here today, and to thank the committee that's on refreshments to be providing us some refreshments after this part of the meeting. Thank every one of you for being here today. Now, I've got two special people I want to introduce. Myself, is my wife, Betty. I got her from Waycross, Georgia, down in the swamp. And we've been married 36 years on the 22nd day of this month. The other person I want to introduce is my daughter, Mary. Mary attended Taylorsville High School, but she did not graduate there. She was a graduate of Cartersville High School. I'd like to thank everyone for allowing me to be a part of this program. Of course, you know my name is Clayton Jackson Harris, and I'm from the class of 1948. I will be talking primarily about the 1900 to 1966 period of this school, and I'm breaking it into 3 sections for what I'm going to talk about. From 1900 to 1926, of course, somebody else already mentioned it was a 3-room school. One person I want to name that was a principal in that school in 1919, 1920 was a man named Harmon White Caldwell. He came to Taylorsville as a principal. He was there that short period of time. He joined the John W. Aiken Masonic Lodge while he was here, and he continued his connection to Taylorsville for the remainder of his life. In about 1975, a group from here went to Atlanta and presented him with the 50-year Grand Lodge Award. In about 1936, he became the president of the University of Georgia. In later years, he became the chancellor of the university system of Georgia. But he always felt close to the community of Taylorsville by retaining his membership in that lodge the entire remainder of his life, which was about 77 years. That's all I'm going to mention about the 1926 era. In 1926, there was a new school building built there, and it's already been described as a 5-room building. In that period, from 26 to 1937, it was primarily for the local community of Taylorsville. It lived within walking distance of the school. And I will introduce descendants of some of the men whose names are on that thing in a moment, who we believe, as Brother Lamar says, the movers and shakers in beginning the school and supporting it through the years. In about 1937, consolidation happened, and we brought the Crossroads schools, the Davistown school, the Big Pond, the Legal, and maybe other small schools that were located around the community to the Taylorsville school. In 1947, we brought the high school students from New Harley and Styleford to Taylorsville. The next period is 1937 to 1966. But first, I'm going to have everybody standing from time to time in my presentation. You sit here and you've been real quiet and everybody else has talked. And I'm going to have you standing up and maybe get a little exercise doing that. Some of you may stand more than one. Is there anyone present who attended the Taylorsville school before 1926? I didn't think we would have anybody there in that. Second, is there, for those who attended before 1937, before the consolidation, now I know we got quite a few of those. Ernestine Hogan. And they're the daughters of E.O. Davis, and we will recognize them again in a few moments. I'd like you to tell us how you got to school back in the days. What transportation did you use? You walked? Everybody walked to school before 1937. 1937, after consolidation, we got school buses that run over the community that brought the kids into school. And by the way, I think that's about the first year that Lamar and I started the school at Taylorsville. Lamar managed to go 1 year at Davistown. I didn't get to go to Davistown. So we didn't live in Davistown at that particular time. We lived a little further north. Next group I want to recognize is all who attended before 1950. That'd be between 37 and 50 on that group of staff. I know there's a good many of them. Let's give them a hard hand. The remainder who attended between 1950 and 1966. Would you please stand? Now, with all others who attended during any other period at the Taylorsville School, whether it was the first grade or the whatever, it's not standing still for. All who attended Taylorsville School during that period of time. Well, Ron, was you the only one And the next question is, all who graduated from the high school, everyone who graduated from Taylorsville High School. If you stood already, that's fine. Stand again. As I thought about it, and Lamar had already explained, you couldn't put all the names on that marker. And I can't stand up here and call everybody's name today and have everybody to be individually recognized. He didn't allow me that much time. The people who are names appear on this historical marker. One is W.D. Tripp Sr. Is there any of W.D. Tripp's direct descendants present today? There's none, but he was born in 1870, died in 1930. He was active in education, politics, church, and business. He was a clerk of this church for over 30 years. His home is located directly behind the church here and is now owned by Jimmy and Sherry Roberts. He was the son of William Madison Tripp. The community knew him as Uncle Doc, who was born in 1840 and died in 1926. And I'm sure that he had something to do with the beginning of the Taylorsville School, in addition to his son, W.D. Sr. His home is located down Main Street, is now owned by Ms. Sue Harris. Sister Sue, would you stand and let everybody see you? It's a beautiful home. The next person on my list is Ernest Oliver Davis, born in 1882 and died in 1965. Brother Davis was the owner of the Farm Supply Company, active in education, president of the Bank of Taylorsville, active in this church, Taylorsville Baptist Church, for all his lives. He was the son of J.P. Davis, born in 1859 and died in 1938. And I'm sure that he also had something to do with the beginning of the school here. The J.P. Davis home is known as the Dorsey Eldon Ferguson home in the current day and is located down on Main Street. Mr. E.O. had 2 daughters and a son-in-law who were teachers at the school, and we're fortunate to have the 2 daughters here today, Ernestine and Eugenia. And they have with them the granddaughters, Jean.
Whose daddy was the
Anyway, I don't want to encroach too much on the teachers because I understand that Dr. Cantrell here is going to be introducing those teachers in a few moments. Next person is W.M. Dorsey. Mr. Dorsey was born in 1888 and died in 1972. He was a cashier and for all practical purposes the CEO of the Bank of Taylorsville. He is the son of John M. Dorsey, who was born in 1844 and died in 1923, and I'm sure he had something to do with this school being started. John Dorsey was the first master of John W. Aiken Lodge here in Taylorsville. The next person, that I mentioned is Winfield Percy Harris Sr. Mr. Harris was born in 1886 and died in 1966. He was a local farmer, member of the Bartow County Board of Education for many years, a major supporter of Taylorsville High School. Sons and grandsons and daughters-in-law and grandchildren also came through the local systems and were major supporters. Do I have any of the descendants, direct descendants of W.P. Harris Sr., President Doug Harris? Thank you, Doug, for being here. L.W. Jolly, born in 1866, died in 1937. I'm sure he had something to do with the beginning of the school years. Had 7 children, including Ms. Mipta Ward, who was a teacher in the school system, and the mother of Dr. Brad Ward. Dr. Ward is present here with his son Eric. He was also the father of W.B. Jolly, a local merchant, and the husband of Ms. Ida Dorsey Jolly, who was a teacher and the mother of John Brandon Jolly, who happened to be the first editor of the school newspaper known as the Chatterbox. There's people here that are descendants of L.W. Jolly, and if you would stand. I'm not going to try to hunt you up, but there's more of you that are here that are descendants of that, in that family than Stu. You may not know, you may not have all the genealogy put together, but I know that some of you are. The other one is Dr. P.M. Rhodes. We understand he was the owner of the original 2 acres of land sold to the original trustees. He was the father of W. Ray Rhodes of the Rhodes Grocery Company and grandfather of Mel, Edwin, and Martha Ray. And all of these people had a long history of service to the community. Anybody that's related to the Shaw family would be descendant When speaking any time about the town of Taylorsville, as the mayor mentioned, Israel Pickens Davis and Thomas Osby own the land that this community is on now. And it was surveyed by a man named Gamage Taylor, and this Taylor is who the town was named after. Now, among the local family descendants of this Davis, and I don't have any history on Thomas Osby. The only thing I ever knew about him was in the history prepared by Ms. Jewel Sewell, Jewel Tripp Sewell, in the Taylorsville Baptist Church, that she mentions this name. And I don't know any other history about him. But Israel Pickens Davis is the ancestor of all the Harrises of Davistown. The Davises that are still in Davistown. The Sproul family, the Taylor family, the Edwards family, the Hitchcock family, the Tripp family, and possibly other names. And for all of you that are descendants of Israel Pickens Davis, would you stand? Now, the next 2 or 3 names I'm going to call are not on the marker, but they were active people in this community in the turn of the century in a different time. Thomas S. Williams, born 1853, died in 1916. He had many descendants that attended the Taylorsville High School, Taylorsville School, and are still residents of the area, including the Cantrell families, the Ferguson families, and of course the Williamses that are still in this community. And if you're the descendants of Thomas S. Williams, would you please stand? Another one is Benjamin F. Smith, born in 1816 and died in 1893. At the time of his death, he owned the property surrounding the school ground at the time school ground. And he's the ancestor of many of the Smiths that graduated from Taylorsville High School, the Harrises of Davistown, and others. If you are a descendant of the Benjamin F. Smith, would you please stand? Now, Mary, you'll need to stand. Ruth, you'll need to stand because Henry was a descendant. All of the Harrises of Davistown were descendants from this Benjamin F. Smith. His daughter, Mary Ella, was the mother of Frank Harris. And I didn't have Lamar didn't stand for that. She was the mother of Frank Harris and Ivy Harris. And Frank Harris raised 14 children in Davistown. 13 of them became grown and had families of their own and are scattered all over the country nowadays. Let's try that again. How many descendants? Benjamin F. Smith. Lamar, you got to stand on that. Another family that's, as best I could count, had over 35 members of that family graduated from Taylorsville High School, and they are the Popham family. Some of the property that was part of the school for many years was purchased from the Freeman Popham family. The daughter married W.P. Buddy Lanier, and one of these daughters was the wife of a friend Morris family, and the Grady Turner family. Grady Turner and his wife, who was a papa, had 8 children graduate from Taylorsville High School. Wayne being one of them, Moselle, and 6 more of their brothers and sisters. Let's give them a good hand. Another family I was going to recognize was the Worthington family, and the reason I'm going to recognize them is Harry Worthington, and I don't believe he's here. I talked to him this morning, he wasn't sure he could make it. Is probably the last person to ever walk across the stage and receive a diploma. He was in the class of 1966, and in alphabetical order, he would have been the last one. I would love to mention everybody here's families, but say Lamar didn't allow me all that much time. I thank you and appreciate being on the program, and I have a lot of genealogy that's available on people from this community, and if you'd like to anytime come and look at my computer, you'll find that I'm pretty familiar with everybody that's been here in the last 83 years.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. That is so hard to recognize people and look out in the audience, and it's something a lot of people don't even try. That was really great to recognize so many folks here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next on our program, and you may be following me, is Dr. Rayford. And yes, and see, I learned something today. I've been putting the emphasis on the right the whole time. Thank you. I was paying attention. He will be recognizing our teachers, staff, and graduates. Of course, he needs no introduction to this crowd, as we can see, but he is a 1962 graduate of Taylorsville High School and served as superintendent of the Bartow County Schools, and that's certainly how I know him.
Just to acknowledge the other half of the family that say Cantrell, that is okay as well. In fact, I do answer to Rayford Cantrell or Rayford Cantrell. So either of those are acceptable. It is great to be here this afternoon. And Doug, I did hear the prayer. I was back in the back. You acknowledged the great contributions that were made by the teachers and staff to those students. Tremendous contributions made to those 660 graduates and the many other hundreds and even thousands of students that came through Taylorsville School. Lamar gave me 3 pages of names of those who potentially would be here today. But as Clayton said, there is so much more we can share than we have time to share, so I'm going to really get the highlights of those who are here, hopefully acknowledge those who are here, who are teachers, who are staff members. I wear a tie that references bus drivers and students on buses. Everyone in a school that works with children is vastly important in the process, regardless of what the position is or what the day-to-day responsibilities are. Davis's comment about being a baby reminds me of, in my family and in my group of friends, there are some people who've celebrated their 29th birthday for 30 times. Davis, I don't know how long you've celebrated being a baby, but you've grown up. Appreciate your contributions and leadership, as well as Doug and others who've served in capacities to lead education in Bartow County. I have a number of folks I hope are here. I was not able to confirm all of these being here, but I do want to acknowledge a number of individuals. If you're here and can't stand or don't need to stand, would you just raise your hand? I'll accept that as acknowledgement that you're here. Is a Sandra Morris Broadway present today? Okay, Sandra served as secretary of the school, and having been a principal of the school, having been a leader of the school system, those people who day-to-day answer the calls and keep the so-called leaders straight are so valuable. How about a Clara Arnold Bullock, who served as secretary? Is she present today? A teacher by the name of Sonia Fields. Sonia was a gentry. Sonia Gentry Fields. Sonia, are you present today? You're present in spirit if you're not present in person, because Sonia makes an impression wherever she is. She was a 1958 graduate and then came back as teachers. And many of the teachers at Taylorsville High School were graduates who came back and paid forward from those things that they were given. Audrey Free. Audrey. I know Henry Floyd is in many of our prayers. Has Henry been able to come today? Grady Haynes. Grady Haynes served as a bus driver. And as I said, those people are very, very important in our process. Ruth Harris. Ruth? Let's give Ruth a minute. She taught many individuals and the children of those individuals. Maybe grandchildren too, I'm not sure, but at least the children. I know Irma Sutton Henry is here, and she served as secretary of the school and graduated in 1963. We said Irma Dale, if that's okay. Ernestine Davis Hogan. Would you raise your hand, Ernestine? Ernestine served in the area of a teacher, high school principal. Her sister was a teacher and married Principal E.L. Kelly. Raise your hand. The father, of course, as Clayton had mentioned, C.O. Davis, and he was a trustee. Their brother was also a teacher, and the grandfather was a trustee. So great acknowledgments of contributions in the So, and Eugenia Davis Kelly, we just acknowledged. And did you graduate in 39? 39?
I bet that was,
Okay, I don't want to place any ages on these 29 plus, okay? In terms of other folks who worked, Bobby Maxwell drove a school bus, still lives in our community and is a leader in the community. Is Bobby here? Lynn Maxwell is a teacher, and her husband was a bus driver, James. Mr. William Ed Murphy and Nell C. Murphy. Have they been able to come? All right. I want to divert from the list just a moment for anecdote. It was in the late 1950s. A young sophomore was on his way out the north driveway of Taylorsville School. That's the one nearest the bridge, for those of you who don't know north and south there. The nearest the bridge driveway, and this young man was headed home after staying over late to work at school, and a neighbor, as he approached the driveway and the road, a neighbor came by on a tractor. And of course, you know, the dirt roads and potholes are nothing today compared to potholes back then. And this neighbor said, Rayford, how about getting on the tractor and let's get you home? Mr. Ed Murphy, standing in his driveway at that house, said to that young fellow, if you'll wait just a minute, I'll carry you home. I don't know what his agenda and his priorities were that afternoon. Nell probably had food on the table, hot and ready, but he said, Rayford, if you'll wait just a minute, I'll carry you home. Ed, that has stayed with me for 50 plus years, going on 55 years. That expression of kindness. Nobody but God knows what would have happened if that teenager with a handful of books had gotten on that tractor, leaned against the fender over the tire to ride home. Ed, you may have saved my life. You may have made whatever impression or whatever contributions I've made, you may have made that possible by that act of kindness. And the second thing I want to say about that is, during my entire educational career, because of that emphasis on safety of students, nothing has been more important in my career than safety of students. Other things have been up there close, like, of course, education. But nothing has been more important than safety. And I thank you. Let me give him a round of applause. Ed, I've been wanting to write that letter for 15 years, but since now is a good opportunity, I just want to acknowledge that publicly. Thank you. Jerry Thompson was a teacher at Taylorsville High School. Is Jerry present today? He was also a basketball coach. And coaches and teachers make such a contribution to the lives of young folks. Helen Wade, James Riggs. As I said, I've got a number of pages, but I just wanted to cover a few of those. Let me just now ask, if you were a teacher at Taylorsville School, high school, elementary, would you please stand? If you were a classroom teacher of Taylorsville School, would you stand? And some of those teachers have had their 29th birthday more than once, and so they're not able to be here today. So the families and relatives, children of those who taught at Taylorsville School, would you please stand? If you were a family member, children of, relatives, and again, this additional 2 pages names many of you who were here today because you were relatives of those individuals. If you worked at Taylorsville School in other capacities other than a classroom teacher, I've already acknowledged some were secretaries, but there may be others here who work as lunchroom workers, bus drivers, secretaries, custodians, parapros, any other capacity at Taylorsville School to help students. Would you stand if you worked at any of those capacities? If you were a PTO, PTA, PTCO, if you were a volunteer at Taylorsville School, and I didn't mention earlier, volunteers are so important in that process. A mentor, someone helping. If you worked in those capacities, if you corrected the lights, did other kind of things around the school, if you volunteered, would you stand up, please? Yes, all of you made the difference. Made the difference for Rayford Cantrells, made the difference for others who walked those halls squeaky or not. You know, you made the difference in our lives. And a part of our success story would not have been possible had it not been for you. So I thank you, one and all. Now, I was also supposed to recognize graduates, and Clayton, I think, has covered most of that. But I want to see who the oldest graduate is, and you don't have to say age. Who is the person here who is the eldest of the graduates of Taylorsville High School? So I'm going to go back, and if you graduated before 1930, I'm going to ask you just to raise your hand. If you graduated before 1930, okay, I didn't think we had someone, but just in case we overlooked someone, I don't want to do that. If you graduated in the 1930s, 31 through 39, would you raise your hands? Or raise your, okay, let me see, hold them up. Okay, got 2. Is it all right if I just make it a tie? Okay, all right, our eldest graduates of Taylorsville High School here, oh, thank you so very much for making this a special day for us. And then do we have anyone here who graduated along with Mr. Worthington in 1966? You would be the youngest group of graduates of Taylorsville High School. Is there anyone here who graduated in 1966? So, okay, I'm going to have to go backwards. Is there anyone here who graduated in 1965? Okay, our youngest...
Raymond, I wanted to tell you, Sonia Fields called me, and she's on a cruise, so that's why she's not here. So she says for me to be
Gave up this for a cruise.
be sure to tell you why she's not here.
I understand that. Thank you so very much. Give me your name, please.
Patsy Harris.
Yes, Patsy. Patsy, a graduate of the class of 1965, the youngest of our graduates here today. Again, Clayton has recognized the others. I want to conclude with a few comments. The 660 graduates of Taylorsville High School and their descendants have touched every continent on the earth. Maybe just barely in Antarctica, but probably have touched it and warmed it just a little bit with their presence. The graduates of Taylorsville High School have contributed to every major positive profession. The marker lists 10 of those categories of professional services. And most importantly, they're still making a difference. Not just made a difference, but still making a difference. One last time, if you attended Taylorsville High School at any year, some of you attended Taylorsville High School as a freshman, sophomore, and junior, and then it closed and you had to go somewhere else to graduate. If you attended Taylorsville High School at any time, or graduate, or was a graduate, again, I want that group to stand. If you attended the high school, or graduated from the high school, if you attended the high school, let's give these folks a round. And to the graduate of Taylorsville High School, 1948, 49, who made today's event possible because of the history of Taylorsville School and so much dedication to the effort of the marker. Let's give Lamar Harris a round of applause. Lamar had mentioned the contributions of Linda Garland Cantrell to the marker. She was a very observant individual. That's my wife. And one day, Lamar and I were going through what the marker should include, and he had put names on it and other things, and some way he wanted to put my name on it, and I gave this to Linda, and she said, don't put any names of graduates on that marker, because if you put 10 names, you leave out 10 important names. If you put 50 names, you leave out 50 important names. She said, my advice is just don't do that. So I sent Lamar word. My wife is a pretty good judge of people. She says just don't do that. So Lamar, I think that was a good decision on your part, and definitely she was one of those people that knew people, and I acknowledge her contribution to my life and to the work that God has blessed me to do.
Thank you, Dr. Cantrell. That also was a difficult to recognize all the teachers and staff support for so many years, and thank you so much. Joe Tilley, I wish you could have been up here with Joanne and me to looked out many, many stories. Could fill a lot of Thursday mornings, I was thinking. Fun stories, sweet stories. I know we've only heard a few today. Lamar, would you mind joining me as we introduce our final guest? Mina Harper has been working with Lamar a lot.
Yes.
Mina is a DVHS board member, and she and Sally Tonsmeyer are the ladies that decide what kind of refreshments we're going to have and what kind of beautiful flower arrangement, and they go over the top. It's appreciated every time. But Lamar, we appreciate her with this project, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much.
Couldn't have happened without it.
Mina, if you don't mind coming forward and letting our guests know about the reception and the marker and the rest of the information.
Well, I'm to do the closing remarks. Look on your program. You see that after me there are refreshments and a visit to the marker site. I want to thank Sue Harris and Vivian Woods, who were in charge of refreshments. And refreshments will be served in the fellowship hall, which is on the second floor of the wing on my right. So immediately after my closing statement, we will go for refreshments. Lamar will have to tell you where the marker site is. Today is a great day. It's a great day when citizens with historical consciousness come together to recognize the historicity of an old school. Lamar has shown us that Taylorsville High School played a unique role in the progress of the county. A revival of the economy was desperately needed after the Civil War, and THS graduates, having the advantage of an education, were able to take steps forward in the county's recovery. How wise of some of you to ask him to write the history of the school. Like the history of Taylorsville High School, much of Bartow County history needs to be collected, interpreted, and written. The sources of information are available, but until the details are studied and put into usable form, the rich heritage of this county lies dormant and beyond reach. Thank you, Lamar, for your scholarly study of the historical material on Taylorsville High School and for writing the book, Taylorsville High School, 1900 to 1966. Thank you for your generosity in establishing the historical marker. It benefits those who otherwise would never know that their forebears provided for them during a difficult part of our history. Importantly, thank you for choosing Taylorsville Baptist Church for this venue. The mayor said to me, just the art alone in our historic Taylorsville Baptist Church inspires me. It's true. The architecture, the surface details, windows, original church pews, and the ethereal hanging lights. These are art. The church is historic, and thankfully it has endured. I might say there's such a welcoming atmosphere. You come into this church, whether a member is here to welcome you or not, you just feel that sanctuary. This is a place that welcomes. This is the perfect setting to celebrate the contribution of historic Taylorsville High School. So at this time, EVHS, the Board of the Etowah Valley Historical Society, and your Honorable Mayor Mitchell Bagley have a surprise for Lamar. And Mitchell, I would like for you to come to the podium and
If y'all would allow me, on behalf of the town of Taylorsville, we just felt it only right to present Lamar with a proclamation for today in his efforts. I will read the proclamation and we will present it. Hard work to be done toward Mark and the proclamation reads, proclamation of the most honorable citizen. Whereas Wesley Lamar Harris, by his recognition of the historical significance of the Taylorsville High School, the first public high school in Bartow County, and by his dedication to fulfill the request of the citizens and the Uhari Historical Society to write the history of the school, published the book entitled Taylorsville High School, 1900 to 1966. And by his scholarly examination of the historical period in the aftermath of the Civil War, in which the state of Georgia had no money to build schools, and by his admiration of the school's founders who led citizens to build a school with local funds, and by his own insight, did proceed to obtain official endorsement for a historical marker for the school sponsored by the Etowah Valley Historical Society. And of his own generosity did humbly establish and erect a historical marker and plan for its dedication for the benefits of the present generation and their progeny, in order that they be informed of the selfless gift of their forebears who provided a free and quality education for Bartow County youth, who in turn impacted the county, state, and nation by their preparation for higher education and a professional endeavor. In witness, therefore, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal and execution of the office of Mayor of Taylorsville, Georgia, to be affixed this 5th day of April in the year of our Lord 2014, proclaiming Wesley Lamar Harris most honorable citizen. Mr. Harris, you are awarded key to the city.
Time does not permit, and it's dangerous to start talking about people who have made contributions, but there are 3 people I must mention. Virginia Garrison, did a lot of work on Bulletin. Virginia, please stand up. And Jan and Sally, who did the sign-in, Jan Shepherd, where's Sally?
Here I am.
Again, thank you so much. I apologize to Tommy for the failure to get ushers to take up an offering.
It's not too late.
Harvey Woods, would you come up here, please? This is just a token of our appreciation for the use of the facilities and all the people who helped put this on. Thank you very much. Without the guidance of Minor Harper, she disappeared. During the assessment of the marker application and development of the marker text and the program, I would have been lost. In addition to getting to know her, I benefited from her English lessons, particular grammar and punctuation. I didn't learn all of it, but I'm trying. She reminds me of Mrs. Ida Jolly. And I'd like to present EPHS flash drive of my book, so you'll have it in the archives. Thank you very much.
Thank
We go to have some refreshments, is that right, Mama? Yes. Okay, thank you. See you in the fellowship hall.